Nicole, when was the last time you actually listened to your gut?
I always do, because nutrition in midlife is so important. And we know that there's a lot of misleading health advice out there. And most of what we're taught about food is wrong. Did you know that Big Food even pays TikTok influencers to say that ultra-processed foods are healthy when they're not?
I actually find that shocking, but it's no wonder that 1 in 8 people globally, that's over 1 billion people, are living with obesity.
So our sponsor Zoe understands that our health is suffering and that it's time we listened to our gut.
They make your gut health their business. And as we've learned in over 5 years of doing podcasts, gut health is key to overall health.
Your Zoe membership starts by testing your gut health, and it's backed by one of the world's largest microbiome databases and most scientifically advanced at-home gut health tests. Zoe gives you proven science whenever you need it.
Listen, we know better than anyone else being in the self-care space that the start of every new year is noisy with loads of health advice that's often full of hot air and rubbish. But Zoe is the solution that you can trust.
Zoe is the science and nutrition company leading a movement to transform the health of millions. And Zoe membership has been proven by a randomized controlled trial, giving you the solutions to listen to your gut, make smarter food choices, and change your health for life.
Go to Zoe.com and find out what Zoe membership could do for you. And because you listen to 40ish, you can use the exclusive code 40ish10 to get 10% off membership. As a Zoe member, you'll get an at-home test kit and personalised nutrition programme to help you make smarter food choices that support your gut. That's Zoe.com. Use code 40ish10 at checkout. Trust your gut. Trust Zoe.
Yeah, sure thing. Hey, you sold that car yet?
Yeah, sold it to Carvana.
Oh, I thought you were selling to that guy.
The guy who wanted to pay me in foreign currency, no interest, over 36 months? Yeah, no. Carvana gave me an offer in minutes, picked it up, and paid me on the spot. It was so convenient.
Just like that.
Yeah?
No hassle.
None.
That is super convenient.
Sell your car to Carvana and swap hassle for convenience. Pickup fees may apply.
This episode is sponsored by Zoe. Hello, everyone. Just a couple of things, if we may. Please, if you are listening to the show and you have not followed, please hit the follow button at the top of the page now.
25% of you are already following this show, and it makes such a huge difference to an independent pod like ours. So please, wherever you're listening, hit that follow button now.
And also, if you want more from us, please come over to our subscription on Apple Podcasts to get this show and Self-Care Club ad-free. And the other night he was snoring so loudly, I actually was having a dream about being run over by a lorry. I've got a wool setting.
Yes, so have
A hand wash wool setting on my washing machine.
I do too, but I don't trust it.
I think by the time I'm 50, if I throw a party, there'll be no one there.
I hear you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to 40ish. I'm Nicole Goodman.
And I'm Lauren Mishkon.
This is the podcast that navigates the challenges and absurdities of 40-something life, and we solve all of your dilemmas.
Or we do attempt to.
Every episode, we discuss your problems, issues and rants that you've kindly shared with us, and we also divulge our own stories and our own rants about the mess of navigating midlife. How are you this week? Your stomach is very noisy.
It's really loud.
I think you need to eat something.
It's a lifelong issue. I'm a very noisy digester. Anyway, how am I this week? I bought something yesterday and I feel epic.
You feel
I
epic?
feel epic having bought it.
Epically middle-aged?
Epically middle-aged. Should I tell you what it is?
Should I guess?
You'll never guess.
Epically middle-aged. Well, it won't be pots and pans because we've already done that.
We've covered that.
We've covered pots and pans. You feel epically middle-aged. It must be something to do with the kitchen.
No.
A new iron.
It is clothing related.
Oh, because my next guess was a new Hoover. Oh, not the handheld Dyson thing, which I've really got my eye on, but it's way too expensive.
No, not that.
It's clothing related.
Yes, I'm just going to tell you because you're never going to guess it. It's an electric fabric shaver. What? Do you know what it does? You shave.
Shaves your fabric.
shaves the bobbles off your woolies. You know, like when you've got a lovely woolly and it's bobbly, or you have like a tracksuit, it's bobbly, and then it just looks crap. It shaves it and it looks brand new again.
Do you know, Daisy has a pair of tracksuit bottoms that were really expensive and they have bobbled.
Would you like to borrow my...
You know, I would.
Would you?
I really would. She would be so happy.
Because Zach has already done the test run.
Yeah.
Because he has a tracksuit that was very expensive that he doesn't wear because it's a bit bubbly. He was like, he opened the box, he was really into it, put the batteries in, set it all up for me. When I say set it up, you put 2 batteries in and you press the switch. It's not that. Even for me, it wasn't that hard.
And it's also not Bluetooth operated or anything like that. It doesn't need pairing with something.
It didn't. And he shaved his tracksuit and he was just winning at life.
And for clarity, Zach is 18.
18.
Yeah. So maybe it's not just a middle-aged thing.
Well, listen, I spent the $14.99, but we are all benefiting. And I'm very happy to lend it to you for Daisy's tracksuit.
You really are, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know what? I love this for you.
Thanks.
I do. I think it's almost more exciting than a new iron.
I've got a plan this week that I'm going to take 1 or 2 jumpers a night and shave them while I watch TV. I'm going to rejuvenate my wardrobe.
How bobbly is what's gone on with your woolies?
They're so bobbly. And
Why?
I thought I'm binning all these jumpers. I'm going to buy all new jumpers. And I thought, no, I'm going to spend $14.99 and rejuvenate my own wardrobe. Save me the money.
I have to tell you, it's a lot less fun than getting all new jumpers. But how are you? How are you washing them? Mine are not bobbly.
I don't really wash them that much. I think I just do too much in them.
Well, maybe they're just dirty.
No, they're not dirty. It's when it's like, you know, in the armpits, they rub when it rubs on something else, or you wear a coat and it rubs on the front of the jumper.
I love that you've gone for the shaver rather than just a bit of washing powder.
No, they're not dirty. They're bubbly.
You said you don't wash them.
Oh, not often, because if they've got cashmere, you can't put that in the machine. There is cashmere washable stuff, but you know,
I've got a wool setting.
Yeah, so
a hand wash wool setting on my washing machine.
I do too, but I don't trust it.
Well, interesting that this has come up.
Oh.
Because Adam has jumpers and he always says that they shrink in our washing machine. Anyway, I have since put on these new jumpers that he's got on the hand wash wool setting.
And?
I was a little nervous, I have to say. And I used a different fabric softener and a different washing powder. I don't know why. I just felt that it needed it. And I even shoved in one of Daisy's very cheap Shein jumpers because I thought, God, that's going to shrink. You just blow on it, it's going to shrink.
Yeah.
They all came out, and I even took them out of the washing machine and laid them flat.
Very good, very good.
That
very
is
impressive.
adulting.
That is adulting.
And they haven't shrunk.
Before we dive into your dilemmas, a quick disclaimer. We are not doctors or healthcare professionals. This is just a fun space where we share our thoughts, which could be totally wrong. So if there is an issue that you're seriously struggling with, please contact a qualified expert.
So our first question of the show came in from someone on Instagram.
Okay.
We're going to keep it anonymous.
Let's hear it.
She DM'd us. Help, she says. I want to be petty, but my maturity and emotional intelligence won't let me.
Oh!
I have a friend, in inverted commas. She's inconsistent with her emotions towards me, dismissive, uninterested in me, and after every interaction with her, I feel shit.
Oh.
I know. I've slowly distanced myself from her, and I know if I tell her anything of how I'm feeling, she simply won't care. She sounds awful.
Sounds terrible.
The urge to be petty and passive aggressive is so strong. So was in capital letters, by the way, Lauren. I want to leave every WhatsApp group she set up. I want to obviously leave her out of social events and say no to every invite she extends. But of course I won't do any of this because I'm better than that. And I know it's petty, but in capital letters, the urge is real.
Gosh. Well, I don't think that she is alone in feeling this way. I think there are plenty of people who've got friends, in inverted commas, that they don't massively like. But I also don't
But then
really...
that's not a friend. If you have a friend that you don't massively like, that is not a friend.
But I also don't understand why she can't leave her out of social events and why she can't say no to invites that she extends. if she is dismissive, disinterested, and makes her feel shit.
It sounds like, and this is an assumption, it sounds like they are all part of a similar social circle. Doesn't it?
I mean, you and I were having a discussion in the car on the way here about basically the sunk cost fallacy of friendship, right?
Explain what that is.
It's when you've invested time, money, or both into something. It could be a business, a friendship, a relationship, anything. And it's not really working anymore, but because you've spent so much time or money investing in it, you don't want to get out. They call it a sunk cost fallacy.
But that's not why she doesn't want to get out. And also, by the way, leaving her out of a social arrangement, I don't think is petty. I think it's called boundaries.
Yes.
I think your term, listener, of what is petty and passive aggressive, I actually don't think that's quite right. I think what you're looking to do is protect yourself, protect your own space and your own energy, because every time you're around this woman, she makes you feel like shit. So I think actually perhaps you should be around this woman a lot less.
Or if it does happen, call it out.
But what the thing is with calling it out, it doesn't change it.
As in, what did you mean by that comment? Or, you know, you could just say something as simple as, ouch, like that wasn't very nice. Or you could just say nothing. Because sometimes silence speaks volumes. You know, don't just let her treat you that way.
But it sounds like she's being passive aggressive, right? And obviously, you know, being passive aggressive is it's obviously never the right thing to do, is it? And it never really gets you very far.
No.
But what it sounds like this woman is saying is that she needs to protect her boundaries and she needs some self-preservation.
This is a really toxic friendship.
Because at the moment, what's happening is you're sitting in this relationship and it sounds like it's all on her terms. So your need to want to leave her out of a WhatsApp group or leave her out of a social interaction is just purely based on the fact that you're kind of just sat in this relationship a little bit powerless. But you're not powerless.
No, she's not. It's a toxic friendship. And also you do have the autonomy to leave the friendship, end the friendship, and not see her anymore. And I do think as you come into your 40s, that urge becomes stronger to just not tolerate the things you don't want to tolerate anymore.
And as I'm heading towards the end of my 40s,
yeah,
it's like, I think by the time I'm 50, if I throw a party, there'll be no one there.
I hear you. It'd basically be you, me, if I'm still invited, and the dogs. And that's like it.
Yeah. And hopefully my husband, if he's still around. I really hope
so.
he is.
Tolerance reaches a zero.
But you know what? I'm actually all right with it.
Yeah, I kind of am too.
I feel so much more empowered by that lack of tolerance. Because why should I tolerate something that is intolerable? Why are you, this is my question to the woman that's written in, why are you tolerating someone who makes you feel like shit? You don't have to. And you shouldn't have to. By the way, it's like we all need permission to stop putting up with bullshit. Only women need the permission.
Yes.
Men never need permission.
Yes.
Adam would never put up with bullshit.
Neither would Ollie. He would call out the bullshit and then it would end.
And also, she made an interesting point where she said, I would talk to her about it, but she won't care. Well, maybe if you talk to her about it, it's not for her to care. It's to find some sort of peace and closure for yourself. It's not about her caring. It's about you speaking up for yourself.
And by the way, if you do need permission, we're giving it to you right now.
So I say either call her out on it like Lauren said. You can just do it in subtle ways like, actually, that wasn't a very kind thing to say.
Yeah.
Why did you say that?
Yeah.
Or go out for coffee with her and say, you know, I always leave our interactions and I just feel a bit rubbish. By the way, we have done an episode on Self-Care Club called How to Have a Difficult Conversation. And it's got a step-by-step guide in how to have these awkward conversations, haven't we?
Yeah.
And it's super, super helpful. Never easy.
Never
but
easy.
super helpful. So I think either call it out or maybe not leave her WhatsApp groups, but maybe you don't have to, you don't have to invite her to social arrangements.
No, you don't. And you don't have to go to anything that she invites you to. And you don't have to chat with her on WhatsApp. Just bin her off. Bin her off.
Or make it work for you. Find a way that it works for you. And if that's bin her off, then bin her off. But just do it in a way that is manageable and tolerable for you. Don't just say yes to everything, all the scraps that she is feeding. You don't have to.
We have also done a 3-part mini-series on female friendships on Self-Care Club.
We have.
In September. So go and look for those shows, because there was actually some very good advice about how to deal with toxic friendships and how to end them and cope with them.
And it's an endless conversation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Toxic friendships.
Yeah.
In females.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, we wish you luck. Thank you so much for writing in. We really appreciate the message. Lauren, you know me, and you know when it comes to answering the listeners' dilemmas and when it comes to food, I always trust my gut. And I also trust Zoe, the leading size and nutrition company.
All the nutritionists that we've spoken to on Self-Care Club have highlighted just how much misleading information is out there when it comes to food. Things like the claims that you see on packaging that say things like low sugar or nothing artificial. These are often a sign to actually avoid these foods. Ever noticed a health claim on fresh fruit?
No, never.
Right, well, you get my point.
So it's completely understandable why there's so much distrust and wondering who you should turn to for accurate information.
Well, it's very simple. It's not a dilemma for us. We use Zoe.
Backed by one of the world's largest microbiome databases and most scientifically advanced at-home gut health tests, Zoe gives you proven science whenever you need it.
Go to Zoe.com and find out what Zoe membership could do for you. And because you listen to 40ish, you can use the exclusive code 40ish10 at checkout to get 10% off membership. As a Zoe member, you'll get an at-home test kit and personalised nutrition program to help you make smarter food choices that support your gut. That's Zoe.com. Use code 40ish10 at checkout. Trust your gut. Trust Zoe.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. Sometimes the most painful part of getting sick is the getting better part. Waiting on hold for an appointment, sitting in crowded waiting rooms, standing in line at the pharmacy, that's painful. Amazon One Medical and Amazon Pharmacy remove those painful parts of getting better with things like 24/7 virtual visits and prescriptions delivered to your door. Thanks to Amazon Pharmacy and Amazon One Medical, healthcare just got less painful.
I forgot a word yesterday.
Okay.
And it was like a word that I shouldn't forget.
Do you remember what it was?
I do now. And I was talking to my daughter, my 16-year-old. I said, you know, the thing, Lily Rose has got one. What's it called? And she said, what? I said, she's got it. It's in her bedroom. It's like a phone, but it's much bigger. So she's like, a big phone? I'm like, no, it's not a phone. You can't make a phone call with it, but it's like a phone, but bigger. She's like, an iPad? I'm like, yes. She's like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Excuse me, I thought you were going to tell the story that was so much worse when last week you couldn't remember the name for those things that you walk up to go from downstairs to upstairs, even though the word is in the words.
It wasn't downstairs to
upstairs.
upstairs. It was down to up. It was like you go from, or maybe it was, I don't even know.
It was the word stairs.
I couldn't remember the word stairs.
That's really worrying.
Thanks. You ever need support, just call my friend Lauren to my right, because she is super supportive.
What's the line between brain fog
It's brain fog.
and dementia?
No, stop it. It's not nice.
Maybe a little more testosterone, blob.
No, I'm on. I you know what?
Stairs was a good one.
iPad isn't brilliant. Totally, I'm really brain foggy at the moment. Anyway,
Clearly.
It wasn't, by the way, the stairs thing wasn't last week.
It was.
It wasn't.
When was it?
Can't remember. You know what? When you've got brain fog, I will remember this moment.
I take my mushrooms every
Of
morning.
you being super supportive.
Where are your mushrooms? I know where they are. They're in the top drawer of your desk, right-hand side.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They are.
Maybe you take them.
I will.
Okay.
It's so embarrassing, though, especially if you're like in a meeting and then you have to go around the houses, and anyone with brain fog is totally going to relate to this. Lauren isn't. You go around the houses to not use the word because you can't remember the word, and then you're trying to explain the word, and then you just come out with this really weird, awkward sentence, and you're hoping to and praying that nobody has noticed that you haven't actually remembered the word iPad or stairs. You're basically just completely trying to cover up your brain fog. When I should just say, I'm sorry, I've got terrible brain fog and I can't remember what that big phone is called. In a meeting. Can you imagine? It's so embarrassing. And especially, but it shouldn't be embarrassing because it's very, very natural. And especially as a podcaster who speaks for a living, it like, I know you're laughing.
I'm not laughing.
No, you are laughing.
I'm not.
You are.
I'm not.
You are.
I'm slightly laughing because I'm going to say the wrong word for them. No, I'm not. I know the right word. The right word is AirPods. Yeah? The little white things you put in your ears.
What were you going to call them? Earpods?
Well, I just never say the right word for them and the children find it so annoying. I either call them iPod, normally call them iPods,
yeah,
or earpods,
yeah,
or headphones. But
I think go with headphones.
I rarely go with
AirPods.
AirPods, which is the correct term. So I'm always shouting around the house, where are my earpods? Where are my iPods? Where am I? And they're like, Mum, AirPod, the AirPod.
But there's worse things.
But that's just because
it's like my mum always
they're
used
a bit
to...
new to me. You know, they're still new tech to me.
Can I tell you something that I have noticed that you have done that is new in the techie world?
What?
And I'm actually quite impressed with it.
Oh, God,
and
what?
you seem to be doing it a lot.
What?
When I send you a WhatsApp message,
Yeah.
you now reply with an emoji, but not like in a separate message. Like you reply to the actual message with an emoji, usually a thumbs up. I'm getting a lot of thumbs up at the moment. What's that about? Is it like you've just learned that WhatsApp does this?
No, I haven't just learnt it, but I feel like sometimes it doesn't require a whole message back.
No, it doesn't.
But I want to acknowledge
Yes.
that I have read the message, acknowledged the message, and I'm responding to the message, which can normally be summed up in a thumbs up
Yeah.
or a heart
But I've
or
just-
a laughing. Those are like, I
You
would say...
never, ever reply with a heart or a laughing.
Rare.
No,
No,
not-
laughing I would.
No,
Heart
you wouldn't.
rare.
No, you wouldn't. They're both rare. You're not a big emoji. You're not.
Sometimes I am.
To who?
People?
To who?
Other people?
To who? Name
Other
them. Name them.
Name 'em.
Name them. That's a Real Housewives joke.
Other people?
Who?
I'm looking through my phone now.
No, I
to
don't need you
see.
to look through your phone. You have never, ever replied
Okay,
to anybody in your life with a heart emoji. Unless maybe I'm going to go with Max, who is your eldest son. Maybe he gets a heart because he doesn't live at home.
He gets hearts all the time. Sometimes
You
the
know what?
ones
I can't
that,
be
like,
jealous of that.
Throb. It's not throb. That's a horrible word. Pulse.
Beat.
Beat. Beat. You know the ones that beat.
Yeah, but I never know when it's going to beat or not.
Oh, it's cute when
No,
they
but
beat.
you know when you never know. Sometimes it beats.
I did a really good one yesterday, and then I sent it, and then I had immediate regret because I wasn't sure if this woman was going to take it the way I intended it.
Who was it and what did you say?
A friend of my youngest, so this another 11-year-old boy. I'm laughing because he's okay, but he had an accident at rugby. In rugby, someone poked him in the eye, and he ended up at the eye hospital A&E last night. So we were texting. I diagnosed it from home. I was like, it sounds like a scratch cornea to me. And so a few hours later, she texts me back. She says, "You were right. He's got 2 scratches in his cornea, and he's in so much pain. Poor thing, and he might have to wear an eye patch."
Aww.
And without thinking, I immediately sent her a GIF of Dangermouse. And as I said, and then I wrote #Dangermouse, and then I thought, oh no,
Might have been a bit too soon.
She's been in A&E all evening with this lovely child who's got an eye injury and is in so much pain, and there I am on my sofa sending Dangermouse GIF. Anyway, within half a millisecond of me sending it to her, one arrived in, and it was also a GIF of Dangermouse, and I thought, oh, thank God.
She sent it at the same time.
I thought, oh, thank God.
Well, what a match made in heaven you both
got
are.
it. She got it. She's not going to be upset with me and think I'm a complete bitch. But it was funny.
I'm surprised you didn't send Jack Sparrow.
No, I tell you, my second one would have been...
Jack Sparrow?
No, Gabrielle.
I know who Gabrielle is. But why wouldn't
Jack
you...
Sparrow, no. He doesn't wear an eye patch.
He's a pirate.
He doesn't wear an eye patch.
Doesn't matter.
It totally does.
You know what? You know what? I just get a fucking thumbs up on replying to a message. You can't even be bothered to send it in a separate message, right? And now I hear that the mums from school get gifts.
How many messages do you send me and I send you per day? 15? I wouldn't have time to do anything else in my life.
What's wrong with that? Gifts. I've never had a gift from you.
All right, I'll bear that in mind.
Or a throbbing heart.
Oh, I'm feeling this lady already. I'm feeling her. Hi, 40-something ladies. Help me.
Oh, dear.
My new partner snores. No cure. Separate bedrooms or end the relationship? ? Sleep is king. Oh, babes.
I
feel you.
This is very triggering for me.
Me too. And me too. I feel you. I hear you. I am you. We are as one.
Yeah, but you're
we
not
are
in
as a three.
But we're a throuple. But when she's not in a new relationship.
It's not a new relationship, but I feel like if it was a new relationship, I may have maybe a little more tolerance.
I think
for
I'd have
the
less
snoring.
tolerance.
Really?
If I was in a new yes. You're talking about the sunk cost fallacy. I've been with Adam 20 years,
And he's
right?
still snoring.
And he's still snoring, even worse. But I'm not going to throw it all away because of some snoring. But if I was with some guy for 3 months and he starts snoring, I'm thinking, you know what? Put up with it for 20 years. I don't need it from you, mate.
Now, this thing of separate bedrooms, there is such a thing, and we reported on it on Self Care Club as the sleep divorce. It's very popular now, and it is for couples who are in perfectly happy and contented relationships, but they sleep in separate bedrooms. And normally the reason is snoring, or one of them's up in the night and wandering around and it disturbs the other person. I also have quite a few friends who have a sleep divorce. They're in extremely happy, very functioning marriages, but they sleep in separate rooms.
I don't buy that they are in extremely happy
they are.
marriage. I don't buy it. I don't buy that. And I remember one of my friends, she was also in this very stable long-term relationship and they slept in separate bedrooms. And I used to question it. Why are you sleeping in separate bedrooms? Because he snores. Don't pretend that you don't want your own bedroom. And I thought about it. And then I thought, no, I really hate waking up and Adam is not there. Sometimes I wake up and he's gotten up early or he's not sleeping well and he's not in the bed. I really hate it. I think it's very natural to want to be together in the same room, in the same bed.
I think it is for many, but for some, it isn't that important.
Anyway, the point is that they broke up.
Oh, okay. Well,
and I used to think, you know what? You always tried to sell it to me and I knew it wasn't right.
oh, okay. Well, I actually do know 3 couples who do that and they are absolutely and perfectly fine. And I can't see any dents in those marriages.
Well, you might not know.
No, I would know. I'm telling you, it's all solid. So you could do a sleep divorce, or I don't think you should end the relationship. Listen, I've managed 27 years, and if I can tolerate it for that long, you can tolerate it for a few months more.
Although, as we were walking in, and you start telling me, there's just
I've got zero tolerance.
Literally, those were the words before we press record. I just got no tolerance for anything or anyone.
The thing is, I also
and now here you are with agony aunt saying, I think if I could tolerate it, you could tolerate it.
Well, I kind of have to, because what am I going to do? I do want him in the bed, but I also do want him to stop snoring. I want both those things.
I want both those things can coexist.
Yeah, but how can they? Because I don't know what the cure is for snoring.
Also,
but whatever it is, I haven't found it.
Ollie. A message to Ollie, Lauren's husband, who doesn't listen to this show.
He doesn't listen to it. You can say whatever you like to him. He'll never hear it.
When you have been up snoring all night and you keep Lauren awake, my life is very difficult the next day because she's immensely grumpy.
Because I'm tired.
Yeah, I know.
Sleep deprived.
I know. So his snoring doesn't just affect you.
Oh, it affects you.
It also now affects me.
Well, maybe you should tell him that. Maybe that would be the catalyst.
I'm not going to do that.
Please.
I feel like that would be an overstep.
Maybe you should be like, I have a work partner who is constantly deprived of sleep because of your snoring, so maybe sort it out.
Well, I've only got one work partner, so it wouldn't take a mathematician to figure out who I'm talking
about. And
Ollie,
you figure out who I'm talking about.
He's a smart guy. I think he would. Listen, I also have a husband that snores. And the other night he was snoring so loudly, I actually was having a dream about being run over by a lorry. Right? And then I woke up and realised it was him snoring.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What do you do when he snores? What's your modus operandi?
I used to give him a hit, but he doesn't like that. He
All
gets
right.
really upset. So
Yeah.
now I just like, it's all I can manage in the middle of the night. And it does shut him up for about 2 minutes. And within those 2 minutes, I have to get to sleep.
Yes.
Otherwise, the rhythm starts again.
Yes.
And it's normally just like a little, but here's the interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
Our dog usually, I would say 9 times out of 10 sleeps on our bed.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't always. She didn't last night. Don't know where she went. She sleeps on our bed. She snores. And I find it the sweetest noise I've ever heard.
Yeah, ditto.
It's almost
It's not
like...
annoying when the dog snores. But also, it's not annoying when the dog crunches something loudly and chews. But it's very annoying when the husbands do that.
The dog, I mean, she could walk all over me in the middle of the night and I would find it cute.
Like, sometimes I give Barker a bit of a poppadom because I've never heard a noise. It's like a cave in there. It's the loudest thing you've ever heard and I find it hilarious. But when Ollie eats a poppadom, I have to leave the room because I find it so annoying how loud it is. What's that? What is that about?
Well, dogs aren't annoying. Husbands can be.
So I start with the shush. Shh, shh, shh. And the children tell me, even though we're a floor above them, that my shushing is so loud that it's not the snoring that wakes them. It's
the
my
shushing.
shushing. Then when I get really cross, I go with an elbow. And then he will stop immediately, turn over. Then it starts again. And then when I get really cross, I will say, oh, for goodness sake, shut up. And then he'll wake up and say, I wasn't snoring.
Yeah, always. Oh, then...
Why are you waking me up? I wasn't snoring. You were. And then the next morning, I'm like, you do know that I'm not some masochist that sets an alarm for 3 a.m. so that I can wake up and then deliberately wake you up to tell you you've been snoring, but I've made that all up. That would be a really weird thing to do.
Adam gets annoyed if I wake him up. He's like, I can't believe you woke me up. It's all right for you to wake me up.
But I've been awake since 1 a.m.
Anyway, do you want to know what he did a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
Basically, we were in the car and we'd had a few nights in a row where he was snoring loads and loads and loads. And Adam doesn't like to be wrong. And he's always trying to prove the point that I snore too. And I'm like, well,
you don't snore. I've slept with you quite a few times and you've never snored. And I also know I don't snore.
But he says that I do.
You don't.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, the four of us, me and the kids, we were going somewhere. Me, Adam and the kids. We get in the car. Adam goes, I'm going to put a song on. He'd basically recorded me in the middle of the night and played it through the loudspeaker in the car.
I would go mental.
The kids found it so funny.
Of course they did.
I didn't.
What were you doing? Were you snoring?
Yeah.
How loudly?
Well, it was on loudspeaker in the car, so it sounded quite loud.
What kind of revenge is this? It's like you snored once, so it gets recorded and you're shamed for it, but he snores every single night and that's just to be tolerated. Fuck that. Fuck that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what, lady? End the relationship. It's going nowhere. You're going to live with the snorer for the rest of your life. So either put up with it now or just bin him off.
Yeah.
And find a man who doesn't snore.
I agree.
But the thing is, okay, let's say we just ended our marriages today because of the snoring alone. And then they met someone new. And then the new woman said to both Ollie and Adam, do you, by the way...
Do you snore?
Do you snore? They'd both say no.
That is our show on 40ish. Thank you so much for listening. Now, the important part. If you
Yes.
want to be part of the show, which we really want you to be, please, you can email us. Email your rants, your stories, just anything you want to share, your dilemmas, your questions, anything that you want to be spoken about and you want our really crap advice on, please email us hello@40ish, that's 40ish.co.uk. That's hello@40ish.co.uk. Or you can DM us on Instagram @40ish.podcast.
Wow.
I know, I sound like a proper broadcaster.
You say you've lost your words, but you got a lot of words out there.
Yeah,
well
but
done.
that's just memory, isn't it? That's just muscle memory, that is, because I've said it so many times. I've said it so many times on Self Care Club. I've always done the ending of these shows. Why?
I know. I don't.
Why
know
do I always finish it
'Cause
off?
That's how we set it up, and that's how it rolls. Well done.
I remember the first time I did it.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. It was such a day. It was. And I was like, oh my God, because we didn't know each other.
Yeah.
And we'd recorded this first podcast and I just did the ending. And I was like, oh my God, I hope she doesn't think that I'm, taking over or I'm being too pushy.
Yeah, I wrote that in my journal that night.
Whatevs.
See you next week.
Bye.